Welcome to the Ultimate Philosophy channel, where the ultimate truth is told. This is episode 4, Aristotelian-Cartesian Philosophy Framework. In episode 3, we went over the world of our knowledge or consciousness. Blocks A, B, C, D, E, and F on this slide is all our consciousness of X, where X is simply a variable. The world of our knowledge or consciousness includes our metaphysical intuitions or consciousness of time, space, and substance, our physical sensations or consciousness of sight, sound, scent, taste, touch, and thought, our metaphysical concepts or consciousness of causality, logic, and mathematics, our physical concepts or consciousness in the form of definition, quantification, and theories in science, our metaphysical pure ideas of being alive, self, pure, like, good, perfect, empathy, sympathy, and morality, and our metaphysical theories in creation, resurrection, reincarnation, and immortality. Please note what is in block A is our consciousness of time, space, or substance, not time, space, or substance. What's in C is our consciousness of causality, logic, or mathematics, not causality, logic, or mathematics. And what is in block E includes our consciousness of God, not God. Our consciousness X exists, but X may not. For examples, the fictional unicorn, mermaid, or dragon, but our consciousness of them sure exists. In Western philosophy, the Cartesian approach emphasizes the subject-object distinction. When it comes to object X, its corresponding subject X is our consciousness of X. The Aristotelian approach emphasizes the substance-attribute distinction. The substance or the material part of X is referred to as X as itself, and the attribute, property, or the natural part of X is referred to as X in itself. We therefore arrive at the following Aristotelian-Cartesian philosophy framework. For object X, its substance or material part is X as itself. For object X, its attribute, property, or natural part is X in itself. The corresponding our consciousness of X has its material part as our consciousness of X as itself, and its natural part as our consciousness of X in itself. This framework should have covered every meaningful philosophy question. Now let's go over our intuitions or consciousness of time, space, and substance. Let's go over substance first. When X is substance, substance as itself is particles. Substance in itself is change, that is, change in form. Our consciousness of substance as itself is something, and our consciousness of substance in itself is duality. When X is time, what is time as itself is quite debatable. Our view is that time is only an unnecessary convenience in mathematics and in physics in particular. Time in itself is change. Since substance in itself is change, is time just a different name for substance? Our consciousness of time as itself is before or after, and our consciousness of time in itself is duality. When X is space, space as itself is quantum force fields or bosons. Space in itself is no change, that is, no change in nature. Our consciousness of space as itself is nothing, and our consciousness of space in itself is duality. When X is the universe, which is made of space and substance, the universe as itself is quantum force fields and particles. The universe in itself is change and no change, which is also known as symmetry or non-duality. Our consciousness of the universe as itself is before or after and something or nothing. Our consciousness of the universe in itself is duality or discrimination or asymmetry. Since the universe is also known as space-time, is time just another name for substance and vice versa? Now let's go over our sensations or consciousness of sight, sound, scent, taste, touch, and thought. When X is the object of our sensation, the object of sensation as itself is particles. The object of sensation in itself is change. Our sensation as itself is always good or bad sight, good or bad sound, scent, taste, touch, or thought. And our sensation in itself is duality. Now let's go over our concepts in metaphysical science and physical science. When X is the object of our concept, the object of concept as itself is the universe. The object of concept in itself is symmetry or non-duality. Our concept in logic, mathematics, or physics as itself is always true or false. Our concept in itself is therefore duality. Now let's go over our pure ideas, or ideas of pure reason. We will first go over our asymmetrical pure ideas. The object of our asymmetrical pure idea as itself is the asymmetrical aspect of our life. The object of asymmetrical pure idea in itself is asymmetry or duality. Our asymmetrical pure idea as itself includes self versus other, pure versus blemish, like versus dislike, good versus evil, or perfect versus imperfect. Our asymmetrical pure idea in itself is duality. Now let's go over the symmetrical part of our pure ideas. The object of our symmetrical pure idea as itself is the symmetrical aspect of our life. The object of symmetrical pure idea in itself is symmetry or non-duality. Our symmetrical pure idea as itself includes empathy, sympathy, or morality, and our symmetrical pure idea in itself is symmetry, non-duality, or non-discrimination. When it comes to our physical metaphysics, all we shall say is that a posteriori synthetic is empty. Finally, just a reminder and a clarification of the difference between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is our consciousness of X as itself, while wisdom is our symmetrical consciousness of X in itself, or the nature of our symmetrical consciousness, that is, empathy and sympathy. Wisdom is also the symmetrical nature of the universe, or the ultimate truth. And philosophy is the love of wisdom.